Dear students, we'll discuss a very important concept, emotional intelligence. This concept is a very young concept, means recently formed concept. It has been popular since 1996 after Don Goldman popularized this, but the term was coined way back in 1990s itself, in the early part. So this is a very important topic. So what I request you all is, please apply the concepts which we discussed today in your day-to-day life. Here we will be discussing how to be emotionally intelligent. First, we will discuss the concept, then how to develop emotional intelligence. Then we'll discuss how emotional intelligence can be applied to administration and governance. Right? Having said this, let's start. In the beginning, while discussing the terminologies, we have discussed about emotional intelligence in brief. Now, let us discuss these things in detail, right? So, now you have to analyze and you have to involve in these things. How are you feeling now? How are you feeling? Like when you might have come like hurry burry, or some might have like come with lot of interest. Some may be feeling sleepy. Some may be watching by sleeping. So, what exactly is your feeling? And how you are feeling, then just analyze why you are feeling like that. Now, how you are feeling and why you are feeling. Then, how best you can manage those emotions which are present now for your benefit. This is all about emotional intelligence. Just recognize how you are feeling. What exactly is your emotion now? So here, let me give a hint for you to think. Take two parameters. One is with respect to feelings, pleasant and unpleasant, right? Another with respect to energy, low and high energy. First, locate one thing you locate with respect to energy. Is your energy very low or is your energy very high? Then look at your feelings, like how you are feeling. Are you feeling like attending the classes or like you just came? Is it a pleasant feeling or like unpleasant feeling? Where are you? Then afterwards you connect. Then try to describe these feelings in one word. One word. So would anybody like to describe like how you are feeling? That one word. In fact, it is difficult. It's not that easy to describe like your emotions. Try it. If you don't want to message, okay, like at least excited, great. So like you can at least you just note down or you just in your mind like give a word, calm, okay. If you don't want to say, it's okay, but you have to analyze and you have to give one word. In fact, this is the basis of emotional intelligence, right? So here, so Suman said that he's excited, means he's here, means his energy levels are also high and he's feeling good. Like Meghnaji said that calm, pleased, pleasant. So she's somewhere here, means energy levels are here and also like feelings, the pleasant feeling is same. See here the difference. Both of us, both of these students have same feeling. But the things have changed when it comes to energy level. So in this case, either of one is not good or bad, right? Either of one is not good or bad. So here, the first best thing happened is you are able to recognize, you are able to analyze your emotions. So these words are very, very important. So please do internalize these things. After the class, I'll be giving the PPT. So in exam, you may get a question. What do you understand by being anxious, being afraid, being enraged, surprised, inspired, excited, happy? See, UPSC has already asked, like, what does happiness mean to you? You can add this point. We feel happy when we have, like, to a greater extent, higher amount of energy, and also when we have a pleasant feeling. When you feel tired, your energy levels are at the rock bottom, right? Intelligence. What is intelligence? Anyone? Anyone? What is intelligence? Just general term. This is the way writing practice has to begin. Your mind has to think. It has to come up with the ideas. General mental ability. Great. GMA. Great. Any other word? In fact, general mental ability is the simplest and the precise one. Intelligence. Okay. Good. Intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Okay, not related to work. Great. But the thing is, this can be specifically mentioned. Meghana ji said that it's not related to work. When we discuss or when we contrast with aptitude, because aptitude is directly related to work. Right? Okay, great. So intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Very important here. You have to internalize one thing. It is not your knowledge. So intelligence is not your knowledge. Intelligence is not your skill. It is, in fact, one of the innate abilities. Right? Okay. Problem solving ability or general mental ability. It can be also decision making ability. So these are the three ways in which you can define intelligence. And it is left to you that whatever feels better, you can use that. You can use any definition other than this also. Because intelligence is a very vast concept, and also there is no unanimity among the psychologists as to what intelligence means. Then what is emotion? What is emotion? Anyone? What is emotion? Feelings. Okay, great. Feelings. Okay. Affect component. Okay, great. Affect component will be a broader term. Nice. Then any other word which is related to brain. Okay, great. So here you have to like add up both of these things. It is related to brain, and there's a degree of, instead of feelings, you have to write pleasantness or unpleasantness. It's not okay. Feel okay. Like we cannot say instinctive, Kavitaji. Instinctive. We cannot say, because in fact it was thought that it is instinctive. It's not instinctive. So if you write instinctive, it will be wrong. Emotional intelligence is a mental state associated with nervous system brought about by chemical changes in response to ABC, affect behavior and cognitive components associated with an object. So it is a mental status and it is associated with nervous system. This nervous system, some effects will be produced by the chemical change. So when we feel happy, when we feel sorrow, when we feel anxious, when we feel calm, when we feel excited, they, there are some chemicals which are released. These chemicals are released in response to your affect, behavior, and cognitive components associated with the object. Right? So when you feel something, when you see something very good, say for example, two small dogs, puppies. So when you feel that, your affect component, your behavior component, and also cognitive component related to that object brings down certain chemical changes. This brings some neurological changes. This leads to a state of mind that is known as emotion. Right? Along with that, this has to be some degree of pleasure or unpleasureness. Right? Then emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. This is what UPSC says. UPSC has given the clue as to what is there in the mind of a UPSC question paper or the faculties who have framed these things. So this was in a question. As I said, UPSC itself is giving some clues in the form of questions. So you have to take those things. Being smart with our feelings. Okay. Instead of feelings, you can say emotions. Feelings will be very vague word, right? It is the ability to make your emotions work for you. Say, for example, you are in a calm mind, you are in an excited mind. So, in either of this case, you have to use your emotions to your productivity, such that they work for you in whatever you do, not against you. So here one important thing. So you all civil service aspirants often get anxious because you are facing an exam where there is a lot of uncertainty. There is a lot of uncertainty. So in those points, you have to be emotionally intelligent. How? Say for example, when you become anxious, your energy levels will be a little high. Then you have to say to yourself that your body is trying to cope up with the situation. When you see a person, a horrible person, or a person who may like harm you, when he is approaching you, or when you see a tiger behind you, there, there is anxiousness. So instead of you getting negative effects, you can get positive effects. That is by observing them, by analyzing them. And say the same example here also. When you get anxious, don't say and think that like you are in a bad mood. No, your body is trying to cope up with the situations. These emotions are not like instinctual things which happen to you suddenly. No, they're not instinctual. There is a lot of things going behind these emotions. Strong feeling driving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with others. Okay, Kavita ji has given an explanation. So, how to make your emotions work? So, I already have given one of the most important thing, or around which all the motivational gurus, all the public speakers, everyone work is with this formula. That is, you have to think what you want. Say, for example, you want to become an IAS officer. You have to think that you will be an IAS officer. You have to think as a IAS officer. Afterwards, just by thought, over a period of time, you'll start to believe that you can become an IAS officer. You just start with a small step. Daily, as soon as you get up from the bed, just say to yourself, come on, IAS officer, you can do it. Make this day a masterpiece. Let us take one day at a time. Let us squeeze this day to the greatest extent. Let me be the one person who is working the highest today. Say, for example, I always say to my students, say, think that there are 10 lakh people preparing for this exam. If you take at least for one day, you should be that person who works better than all of this. That is possible. All this 10 lakh also think that it may not be possible. No, it is possible. Please try it. If you just be the best among all the people who are working, instead, in fact, you are ahead of these people. So you have to think, you have to believe, and also you have to act. You should act like an IAS officer. Anything. Say, for example, if you have challenges with English, first thought is that you think that you are very poor in English. Then you start believing that you are poor in English. And you start acting like as though you don't know English. See, English is not our mother tongue. Though I have scored like top marks in English, I may not be speaking the best English. The reason is like I'm not used to this. There are many people who speak very good English. One of my friends, he used to speak to his family in English, but he failed in UPSC mains English paper. Spoken language is different, and also the thing you read, how you write is different. So if you think that you are weak, if you think that you are feeble, if you think that you are challenged, you act like that. So don't think like that. This is in fact very much true. I have come across a very famous faculty, like he was in fact was with me. He was very poor in English, very poor. You just cannot imagine. But he never said that I am poor in English. He always used to think and he always used to say, no, I know good English. He thought that he is knowing good English. He started believing that he is saying good English. He started acting as though you know good English. We all make mistakes. The people who criticize you or mock you for something wrong you're doing are the people who are off knowledge. Those people, well knowledge, well educated, they never criticize because to reach that level, they have faced all these things. They have overcome all these things. They were also beginners. They also made mistakes. So anything you have to think, believe, and act, then it will be the part. Your emotions will be channelized in that. Right? When it like we were just discussing about the example of English. So we all in India, we all have like some or the other way challenges with English people. The reason is like maybe we might have read in English medium schools, but we never used to speak. So for those of you who want to improve English, there is one time-tested thing to English, improve English, spoken English. How? The first thing is you should start. You should start thinking in English, right? Are you getting me? So, for example, instead of you thinking in your mother tongue like Kannada, Hindi, अरे ये क्या हो गया ये ಹೀಗಾಯ್ತು अरे ಸರ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ you think in English. Hey, why did it happen? What sir is doing? Where is he? It's like that. You have to think in English. Then only you will get fluency in English. So what all we say are having the thought process. See, if I am telling something, this won't spontaneously come all time. To a greater extent, These are the things which I have thought, like I have to say these things. So when you think of these things in English, automatically your English, spoken English fluency increases. Okay, coming back to emotional intelligence, and to say the same things in a different way, it is affirmations, it is visualization, it is gratification. See, these are very, very important. Dear students, I never used to believe these things. True, I never used to believe. Say, like if I start saying that I am strong, I never thought this like simply silly, but it works. It has got miraculous effects. So you just affirm what you want to be. I want to be an IAS officer. At the same time, just another word. I'll work best today. I'll be the best person, best student today. I'll work very hard today. You visualize yourself as though working very hard. You visualize as yourself an IAS officer. And you should be content with what you have. You should be have gratitude. You should thank for what you have. See, there are like nearly 3% of the population. Nearly 3% of the population are physically challenged. Think why you're not considering those things. You have got legs, you have got eyes. Even if you have one leg, you should be very grateful. Just think of those persons who don't have legs. You're fortunate that you have one leg. You're fortunate that you're listening to some class. So these are very small things. Why I say is often among the students, among the general public, they always have this thing. Why me? Oh God, why me? They think that all the difficulties are there for themselves. No, it's not true. It's just you're thinking like that. You just please try this. It has got miraculous effect. Please don't ignore this thing. Whatever you want, this is what they also called like what is that in the book Secret? How to attract what you want. Law of attraction. Law of attraction. In fact, many, like thousands of people are making force of money just saying that they are teach law of attraction. All these things is nothing but this. They have just simply modified the things. That's it. In a more palatable way. Right? And motivation. You always should have motivation. Here, one important aspect here, students. When it comes to motivation, the motivation is like our muscle. It has to be worked day in and day. You civil servants have to be motivated on an hourly basis. In fact, sometimes even on minutes basis also. But this is very, very difficult. So what is the shortcut? The shortcut is you should have a routine. You should have a routine. So as soon as you get up, some of you might be having the habit of first brushing your teeth. It's just a routine. For that, there is no motivation required. If this would have been not your routine, even for brushing, you need motivation. Are you getting me? Are you getting the point? Right? So, dear students, make a good routine. Okay, yes. Japanese say like Kaizen technique. Great. So, Pragna madam don't see much motivational videos, read UPSC things, but it's great. Good. See here. One important thing, please concentrate here. We cannot have motivation. What is a shortcut? The only thing is having a regular routine. Say, for example, at 7, you have to attend the class. By 9:30, class will be over. You should have a routine fixed. Then there is no need of motivation. Simply, you won't be aware over a period of time. There will be like lot of things done without even having low motivation, right? So I strongly insist if you want to succeed in this civil service preparation, You should have a regular routine. That is the secret. So how to have a routine? First point, fix the sleeping and waking up time. First, fix the waking and sleeping time. The second thing is before you sleep. In fact, your day starts not when you wake up. Your day starts when you sleep. Before you sleep, just think of those things which you are thinking of doing tomorrow. In fact, there is a myth that one has to get up after getting up, they have to plan for the day. No, if you do that, in fact, you won't get up. You won't get up at that point. Why will you get up? Because you don't have anything to do. So, to conclude, you should have a routine if you want to succeed in this situation. All the toppers whom I have come across, they have a routine. Some they read till 4 o'clock, some wake up at 4 o'clock, but they all have routine. They routinely say, for example, around evening, they go for a walk, they have some tea, they meet some friends. They have routine. If you have routine, then you won't be demotivated. You'll be just following those things and things will be in line. Right? So these are in general, and in exam they ask you can write those things. But I'll be telling you what the emotional intelligence experts say with respect to how to develop emotional intelligence as we proceed when we discuss about emotional intelligence model. So these emotional intelligence models are nothing but how to develop emotional intelligence. They ask in the examination, you just reproduce the model or the crux of the model, it will be more than sufficient. Emotional intelligence is being smart with your feelings. What is emotional intelligence? Here too, as I always say, you should write any definition in your own word. Recognize your emotions. In the beginning, I asked you, like, how you are feeling. Then afterwards, recognizing, you understand them, why you are feeling. You recognize, like, how you are feeling. Understand them, why you are feeling like that. Afterwards, then manage them. See, it often happens. Just by the sight of some people, we get irritated. But we don't know exactly why. In fact, they might have not done anything like they're not your enemies. Somehow, by the just by sight, you will feel bad. And there may be other persons just by their side will feel happy, excited. So here you have to analyze why you are feeling. Then you can manage those things. Then you will understand more. Say, for example, you may be like often quarreling with someone or often argue with someone when you speak to them. Maybe they're your parents, maybe your siblings. Always there is a kind of argument. Argument is exchange of ignorance, discussion is exchange of knowledge. Somehow we always argue. Then, first, if there are cases like that, first you recognize why you are doing and exactly what is that. After that, understand those things. Then manage. And very important in emotional intelligence, all the students and those of like people who are not aware, they always think that emotional intelligence is with respect to us as an individual. No, that's not true. If you say and if you think like that, you are only off correct. We are living in a society. You have to be emotionally intelligent with respect to the people whom you come across, your environment around. Say, for example, our students. I have to be emotionally intelligent as to how they are feeling, why they are feeling, right? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand and manage our own emotions, recognize, understand, and influence emotions of others. This is the most accepted and precise definition. Intelligence is general mental ability, ability to acquire and apply skills, problem solving ability. Emotions, mental state associated with the nervous system brought by chemical changes in response to affect behavior and cognitive components associated with an object. Along with that, there is one important thing, there is a degree of pleasure and displeasure in emotions. So we have to add this also. I feel like in most of the books they have given that, but this part is very important. Don't you feel we have to add this? Because there is a degree. That degree may be however small or however high it may be, right? So emotions are evaluative responses that emerge out of evolution of the species and development of the individual. A very important thing. So I think Kavita madam said that emotions are instinctive. No, emotions are not instinctive. Emotions are the evaluative and responsive patterns. But very importantly, these are not with respect to the sudden circumstances or it is not because of intuition. This is because the whole process of evolution of the species, which has taken millions of years, the emotions what we have are the things, are the result of the evolution of human beings and our development as individual. Here we come across many situations, circumstances, right? And read this, it's very important. Emotions are evaluative and responsive. Means they evaluate your ABC component of the object and they're also responsive patterns that emerge through evolution of the species and the development of the individual as it develops as an individual. Right? There is no scientific consensus as of now. There is currently no scientific consensus on the definition, but it doesn't say mean that you shouldn't have any definition. You should have a definition for all the concepts in the syllabus, right? So these are the two people. So these two people you have to like memorize, and there's no need to memorize any other individual, right? Excuse me. All of you, please pay attention. Here, I have classified the understanding of emotions into two parts. One is pre-1990s, that is before the concept was coined and it became popular. And the next one is post, means before this and after this. Before this and after this. Post 1990. So the things which I discuss here with respect to pre 1990, there are misconceptions. Means these are the things which emotions are not. We were having a wrong idea as to what the emotions are. So these things we have to take as misconceptions or those things which emotions are not. And those things which I discuss in post 1990, these are the exact things, exact details as to what emotions are. Right? Is my point clear to you? So I'll be first discussing the pre 1990 understanding. These are nothing but just misconceptions. So it was thought that emotions are irrelevant to human actions. the actions what we do, the behaviors what we have, they are not connected to the emotions. That was the thought. This is a misconception. In fact, our emotions and our actions are related. They are not irrelevant. They are relevant. Emotions are irrational and disruptive. It says that previously it was thought that emotions are irrational. Rationality means that which is based on reason, that which is based on logic. It was not rational, it was irrational, and it is disruptive to our action. So it was thought that emotions are irrational. Since they are irrational, they will be disruptive to our actions. So if we intend to do something, but our emotions will be acting in the other way. Emotions merely happen to people. Like as Kavitaji said, emotions are instinctive. They merely happen. They just happen by intuition, by instinct. Right? At best, they say that the impact of emotions on action is indirect and insignificant. So they said that our actions are not guided by emotions. If at all, if there is something like those things, this is very minute and also it is indirect. It's not directly affecting. So they thought that emotions are not directly affecting our actions. And they are indirectly acting and that also in an insignificant way. So they thought that these things are entirely different. Action and emotions are different. It was the thought. Then coming to reason. How emotion with respect to reason, how it is associated. Reason and emotions are dealing with two different kinds of mental phenomena. They said that reason and emotion are entirely different. They're entirely different and they're dealing with two different kinds of mental phenomena. Reason, it is also a mental phenomena, but it is different from emotion. That difference is not like slight difference. There was a dichotomy, two distinct things, a division or contrast between two things that are represented as being opposite or entirely different, right? So they say that emotions and reason have dichotomy. There is a dichotomy between emotions and reasons. Means they are entirely different because they are dealing with two different kinds of mental phenomena. Emotion is inferior and disruptive to the normal and optimal functioning of the mind. It was thought that these are two different kinds of phenomena. So it is in fact not only dichotomy, it is though entirely different, it is disruptive to the reason. Means that it is not allowing you to think, reason rationally. It is disruptive to the normal and optimal functioning of the mind. Optimal reasoning. It was thought like that. Then the reasons for something is a fact or situation which explain why it happens or what causes it to happen. So is for something, reason for something is a fact or situation which explains why it happens or what causes it to happen. Through reason, we can say like why it's happening like this, what caused it. On the other hand, emotion was conventionally considered opposite to the finest ability of reason. Means here you are not in a position to say why it is happening and What is causing it? So they concluded that emotions are primitive. Still, like we have that ape feature, monkey feeling. We have not left those primitive traits of our ancestors. It is thought to be disruptive to the reasoning, and it is undependable. We cannot depend on that. Our emotions swings the way they want. Right? This was the pre-1990 thought. So since it is primitive, since it is unpredictable and undependable, logically they thought that there is a need to control. So they thought that emotions need to be controlled by reason, by applying your thought, by applying your rational mind. There is a need to control these emotions because they are primitive, unpredictable, and undependable. So these are the misconceptions. If you are asked in the exam as to what emotions are not, what emotions are not, say what ethics is not. So like that, you can write all the previous things. The post pre-1990. Now we'll discuss about what emotions are. The post 1990 developments. Right? Previously, it was thought that emotions and reasons have a dichotomy. Both refers to different things. Though they both are related to mind, they are different. This thought was questioned. Means they started saying that there is no dichotomy. Then the other development was emotions and reason are integral and supportive to each other. Integral means they form a whole, integer, whole number. So they say that one is supportive, complementary to another, rather than antagonistic and conflicting. Right? So this is the line of thought we have to take. Emotions and reason are integral and supportive to each other rather than each being opposing or in conflict. Your emotions and reason are not in conflict. Emotions are typically not the result. This is very important. This is the exact present like thought which is scientifically been accepted by many. Emotions are typically not the result of deliberative intellectual calculation. The emotions we get with respect to anything, they may not be the result of deliberate calculation. Say, for example, now I want to feel excited. So I cannot make myself excited by my deliberative and intellectual calculations, and not necessarily irrational and non-rational, right? Are you getting the point? So here they are very, very precisely telling the things. They are not saying that they are based on reason. At the same time, they are saying that they may not be necessarily irrational or non-rational, right? Okay, these are very, very conceptual. You have to read at least minimum 3-4 times. Then only you will connect these things. Emotions are evaluative response patterns that emerge through the evolution of the species and the development of the individuals, which we have discussed. Okay, Kavita madam has asked for explaining this again. We'll explain this thing. Okay, okay, it happens because suddenly I'm using many things you might have not heard. So it happens because, in fact, the concept of emotions itself is not concrete with us. It does happen. And the concept of reason. Now, these two things are already like vague. We are trying to have some correlations. Don't worry. I'll explain these things. I'll simplify these things. So previously, like we just go back. So previously it was thought that emotions and reasons are dealing with different mental phenomena. And emotion is inferior and disruptive to the normal functioning, normal reasoning of the brain because they're acting on two different mental phenomena. So they thought that it's a different phenomena and it has to be controlled. The reason was something which which happens based on some deliberation. Regions are something is a fact or situation which explain the things, why it happens and what causes it. So it is just reasoning. You have got logical reasoning. So here you know exactly why it happens. Say for example, if they give some correlation, all these things, by reason you can make out. And emotion was conventionally considered as opposite to reason. So it was thought to be primitive, unpredictable, undependable. So it was thought that like by reason, through reason, by reasoning, we have to control the emotions. But afterwards, this dichotomy that they represent two different mental phenomena was questioned. Means they say that this or this may not be representing two mental phenomena. Mean to say that they are integral. They are representing one mental phenomena itself. They are not representing two mental phenomena. They are integral. Both are present and both are supportive to one another. One is supporting the another rather than being antagonistic, means opposing, conflicting, as previously thought. Emotions are typically, okay, this line, it is a bit confusing here. Don't worry. See here, the thing is, they have not made the things in a like active voice. They have made in passive voice. Let me say, emotions are typically not the result of deliberative intellectual calculations. So what they are saying that emotions may not be the result of deliberate calculations. Emotions may not be deliberate. Say for example, if you want to have some good feelings, good emotions, we cannot deliberately form those emotions. At the same time, they are not irrational. They may not be without any reason. But they are not saying that emotions are based on reason. Please understand the difference here. They are not saying that emotions are based on reason. At the same time, they are not saying that emotions are based on deliberative and intellectual calculations. Right? Okay, this part will be a little confusing. Please do read this again. We'll connect the things. Emotions are evaluative and responsive patterns that emerge through the evolution of the species and the development of the individual. So, emotions are in the form of evaluative things. So, emotions, what we get, are the results of evaluation, and also they are the result for some response patterns. They are responsive patterns to certain object or certain thing, and they are also the result of evaluating those things. And this has not developed in a single shot. It has taken millions of years. And these have been developed through our evolution and has been developed as individuals. Right? Emotions serve the function of providing appraisals about whether what is happening is harmful, threatening, or beneficial. See here, don't you think here there is an element of reason here? Emotions are Emotions serve the function of providing appraisals about whether what is happening is harmful, threatening, or beneficial. Say, for example, with respect to when you see a lion behind you, don't you think your emotions are appraising the situation that is harmful? Say, you see one of your old friend, like after 10 years, suddenly you meet him, suddenly, like by accident. So your feelings will be different. Say, for example, when you meet your loved ones, or when you meet a small child, 1 year, 2 year baby, maybe your sisters, brothers, or anyone, you have got some emotions. So, what are these emotions? These are the appraisals about whether what is happening is harmful, threatening, or beneficial. Right? Moving forward, emotions provide reliable information about the situation and ourselves and provide the best way to effectively achieve our ends. Please concentrate here. These are the lines which you have to write with respect to what you understand by emotional intelligence, what you understand by emotions. Here it's saying that emotions are providing reliable information because they are based on and they are serving the function of appraisal, evaluation. By these evaluations, they are providing reliable information about a situation. Say, for example, like you suddenly went to a new place. Think there any place which most of the people say that it is dangerous. You get certain kind of emotions. So this provide reliable information about the situation in which you are. Say, for example, you are copying and you are caught, then you'll get some emotions. These emotions provide reliable information about the situation, what is at that point, and about ourselves, what is our status, and provide the best way to effectively achieve our goal. Right? Emotions are integral to the process of reasoning and decision making. So here they're saying that emotion and reason are integral part, and also it is very, very important in reasoning, in decision making, in problem solving. So this is a one important thing relating emotions with reason. Right? Move forward. Intelligence quotient. So in nutshell, let me just brief the things. It is said that this intelligence quotient, which is normally used in most of the recruitments, is not that effective. It should also include emotional intelligence. In fact, if we like go through all the literature, what they define is emotional intelligence is a kind of intelligence. Say there may be like 10, 15 kinds of intelligence, like intelligence with respect to intrapersonal skill, interpersonal skills, spatial ability, with respect to music, with respect to kinetics. So there can be different kinds of intelligence. They say that emotional intelligence is one kind of intelligence. So here what we will be discussing is previously we were using emotional intelligence during recruitment around the world, but it has got certain limitations. It is often used in recruitment to test persons suitability to some work, all these things. But it has got limitations. That is the reason we have to have emotional intelligence. This is the thing which I'll be explaining now. Right? IQ tests employed for selection, diagnosis, and evaluation in all parts of the society. IQ tests are generally used around the world for selection, diagnosis, and evaluation of the candidates around the world in all the societies. Then now we'll discuss the critic of IQ and the why we need emotional intelligence, EQ. Intelligence is more a result of an individual's opportunity to learn skills and information. So in fact, this may little contradictory because we just said that intelligence is the ability to acquire skills and information. But in most of the books, they have mentioned the same. They say that intelligence is more the result of the opportunities you have to learn the skills and information. Validity of IQ tests decline with respect to job performance. They are not directly like the correlation decreases when we relate it to job performance. Intelligence cannot like predict the job performance, or intelligence cannot predict our salaries. And also the validity of these tests go down when the situation or the task change. So IQ tests are not valid with the situations of the task changes. IQ tests measure only a restricted aspect of human intelligence ability. This is a critic. So it is and also it is culturally biased. The reason is most of the IQ tests what we have are like framed by Western psychologists. So definitely they are all part of society, they are part of that culture. So definitely there will be cultural bias. However they try, there will be an element of cultural bias. Say for example, you became a psychologist. However you try, that Indian content, the influence of Indian society will always be there. So for the Western people also, they are having cultural bias, especially for those people who have framed intelligence quotient tests. Human IQ tests measure only a restricted aspect of human intelligence and they have cultural bias, and IQ tests don't have heartbeat. Here the emotion is missing. So the last one, there are several kinds of intelligence like interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, spatial ability, language ability, and many other kinds. Kinetic ability. Similarly, emotional intelligence is one kind of intelligence. This is what they say. So because of all these limitations, we need emotional intelligence. Are our emotions intelligent? If yes, how? Are our emotions intelligent? In fact, they are highly intelligent. They are they have primacy over IQ for building group intelligence and social capital. So what is social capital? What is social capital? What is the difference between social capital, physical capital, human capital, societal capital? What is the difference between social capital, human capital, physical capital? What is the difference? So very, very important concept. Often you get like human capital, social capital, physical capital. Let me just explain these things in like very simplest form. Human capital refers to the individual. Human capital refers to social capital concept in social science that involves the potential of the individual to secure benefits and invest solution to the problems through the membership in the social network. Very good. Madam, like how you are writing? Are you just googling the things and putting here? Yes, correct. So social capital, social capital is dependent on the relations what we have. Say for example, here think that this is a bus stand. There are a group of people standing here. According to definition of society, society consists of group of people living in a definite territory. So this group of people who are standing in bus stand are also having a definite territory, and these are group of people. Can we call this group as society? Can we call this as society or a mob? Can we call a mob or a group of people standing in bus stand waiting for bus? Can we call them as society? The answer is no, because they don't have social interaction, that network, and also they don't have social behavior. So along with these things, group of people living in a definite territory having web of social relations and social behavior, right? Along with that, when it comes to human society, we should add one more thing, that is culture. Group of people living in a definite territory having a culture who interact with each other on a regular basis, and there is a bond between all of these. Yes, right? I'll explain these concepts as we proceed, right? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions and emotions in other. Simplest definition: recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions and emotions of others. Okay, voice is breaking. Is it audible to all? Okay. How to develop emotional intelligence? How to develop emotional intelligence? There are models given. These models are nothing but those things which tell how to develop emotional intelligence, right? We'll take a short break for 10 minutes and we'll reassemble. Now the time is around like 8:10. We'll reassemble by 8:20, right? Okay. These the models are very important, in which we will discuss one of the latest and most applicable model. This I have taken from original sources. So like it's about like some like 20 pages to 25 pages or so. So I have condensed these things. I have made these things into points. Please do internalize and connect the things. Here, if you like when I explain the model, if you are not able to connect, like it won't be that productive. Say for example, when we discuss the concept of attitude, I don't know how many of you are interrelating the things. Like my student, like DK Balaji, like he has written a book also on ethics. It's very crisp. If you want, you can refer that book. So why I mentioned is he was doing like that. whenever like he goes, whenever he, even while he was walking, whenever he's taking bath or eating, he always used to try to connect these things. See, everything you have to first think, then only you will be able to write in the exam. When the question is given, suddenly like, you won't be able to interconnect and you won't get points. So like while you are like doing anything, try to connect the things in the syllabus. Right? Okay. Having said that, let us begin with the emotional intelligence model. So these models tell us as to how to develop emotional intelligence. So previously, in general, we discussed about like we have to first think, afterwards believe, and afterwards act. This is one of the methods in general followed, and also gratitude, affirmation. These are also gratitude, affirmation, and visualization with motivation. These are also the things through which we can develop emotional intelligence. But these are general. The things which I will be explaining now are the things based on some of the prominent people who have given this model. Let's begin. Let's get started. So here to begin with, one of the first model and also the simple model. In fact, this is an outdated model. Like most of the people with respect to emotional intelligence are not using this. This is the ability model. According to this ability model, emotional intelligence is a pure form of mental ability. That is, emotional intelligence is equal to the intelligence, the general mental ability. This was the thought by John Mayer and Peter Salve, who proposed this concept. Right? Then we have got second model, that is with respect to Daniel Goleman. So he has given mixed emotional intelligence model. This combines mental ability, that is the intelligence which John Mayer and Peter Salve was talking about, with personality characters like being optimistic and having a state of well-being. So he has combined both mental ability with the personality characters. So that is why it's known as mixed emotional intelligence model. It is a combination of mental ability and personal characteristics with specific optimism and well-being, given by Daniel Goleman, or you can say Dan Goleman. Sorry. Next is that trait emotional intelligence model. According to this, emotional intelligence is equal to individual self-perception, what we perceive, how we perceive the emotions, and also measured by self-report. Here they are concentrating on the person, the individual, how he perceives, how he recognizes, how he measures as an individual. So it is involving a self-reporting thing. It is not based on the analysis of any other individual. Say, for example, with respect to intelligence, we use intelligence tests, IQ tests. Here we have combined that intelligence with the personality things. But here we are specifically referring to the individual self-perception, how he perceives, how he recognizes things, and how he measures. This measurement are also by himself or herself, right? So here now we will be discussing one of the most accepted model that is given by Daniel Goleman. Chances if they ask about the emotional intelligence model, then it will be invariably this one. This is one of the most accepted. Once again, to give the crux of the things, ability model of emotional intelligence is according to that, emotion is a form of mental ability, that is intelligence. Mixed model combines both mental ability with personal characters like optimism and being staying well. Right model emotional intelligence is equal to individual self-perception and it is measured by self-reporting. It's a self concept related to an individual. Right? So coming to the mixed emotional intelligence model, it combines both things given by Daniel Palmer. Moving forward, the things which you see on the upper side are those things which were the components of emotional intelligence model, which was formulated in the beginning. These things are revised. Daniel Goleman has revised these things. Now these are the present. So here simply in place of social awareness, they have just put motivation and empathy. They have combined these two and they have put here. And with respect to relationship management, the previous thing was social skills. So now you just forget about these things, concentrate on this four. So here the main important thing which you have to analyze and internalize when I am dealing with these concepts is these concepts are related to how to develop emotional intelligence. Right? First, here let me just brief the things in a very, very simple way. First of all, we have to be aware of our emotions. That is self-awareness. After you are aware of your emotions, then managing those things. These things are related to the individual, the person whom we are addressing to. Then the next two, social awareness and also relationship management are with respect to others. So emotional intelligence doesn't confine to an individual. It applies to others also, right? Social awareness. And in fact, this is the base. This is the base on which all these things are built, right? Self-awareness. Emotional self-awareness. What does this mean? It means knowing what one feels and why. The first thing what we did in this class. I asked you to recognize like how you're feeling and why. That is with respect to self-awareness. Next, accurate self-assessment. So you are in some state, you are feeling like something, and you know why you are feeling like that. Then here you have to analyze your abilities, positive things, and also limitations. Next, self-confidence. So these terms you have to like internalize, and if they ask in the exam, not only with respect to the concept of emotional intelligence, if they ask what do you understand by self-confidence, you can just reproduce the lines here. Self-confidence, belief in one's own capabilities and decisions. What is self-confidence? A person should have a belief in one's own capabilities, what he can do, what he cannot do, and also in his decisions. So sum up, self-awareness has three things. One is emotional self-awareness and also accurately assessing the self. Then having self-confidence in your decisions and in your capabilities. So these are the things. Next, self-management. In this, the first one is emotional self-control. Here, keep your emotions, keep your feelings under control. First, you recognize them, you assess them. Now you are trying to control them, right? After that, One of the methods of managing the self-management here is being transparent. So we discussed integrity means having consistency with respect to values, your thoughts, your behaviors, with respect to ethics. Integrity means ethics in action. Integrity means values in action. Integrity is when one is having one's action on a consistent basis. Then adaptability, the ability to be flexible. So when you have these things, you can develop self-management along with achievement orientation. This is very important. Achievement orientation means accomplishing things through one's own effort. Here, very important for civil service and also for the rest of your life. Always never depend on others. If it comes, okay, that will be a positive thing. If you think like he has to help me, he did not help me, they did not support me, then you are not having achievement orientation. You assess the resources what you have. Say for example, with respect to civil service preparation, you assess the resources you have. You assess your abilities, your liabilities. Based on that plan, don't think other way. Like if I get money from my uncle, my father, my friend, I'll go to Delhi. Don't depend on others in preparation or anything. You should have achievement orientation. This can happen only when you are accomplishing things through your own efforts. So in your own efforts, you may get the help of others also, but it's just a part. It's mainly your own efforts. That is achievement orientation. Next, initiative. Self-management can happen with initiative, that is identifying the problem and taking action. So what is initiative? Initiative simply means identify what is the problem, what is the solution, what is the situation, and take action. If you are not taking action, then it won't be initiation. Then optimism. Optimism means persistent to pursue your goals on a consistent basis. So here you are persistent, means you are always thinking of, you are always in the direction of pursuing your goals. That can be said to be optimism. Right? So these are the things with respect to self-management. Then next with social awareness. This is the domain with respect to others. So here empathy, that is awareness of others' emotions, concerns and needs. If you want to have social awareness, if you want to have awareness on what the things are happening, can you have self-aware, social awareness without empathy, without you knowing what others are feeling, without you understanding the things from their own standpoint of view? It's not possible. So empathy is one. So if you want to develop emotional intelligence with respect to others, first and foremost thing required is empathy. Then organization awareness. You might not be having the idea like how the organization work, how the working environment will be. It will be completely different. Often you might have heard people saying that like bosses are always giving torture. They are terrible. These are the people who fail to manage the things, fail to be emotionally intelligent because they are not aware of the internal and external power relations. Say, for example, boss. Explicitly, the power center will be with your boss, but there will be other connections through which you can influence your boss. Maybe a friend of your boss can help you out. So you have to be aware of where the power centers are when you are working in an organization. That is organization awareness, the internal and the external power relations. Next, service orientation, desire to help and serve others. This is one of the most important aspects with respect to mm, service orientation. Here, the most of the CEOs whom you come across are the people who in fact helped others. To take any CEO, it is one, in fact, it is always said that it is in giving that you receive, and it is in pardoning that you are pardoned. Any relation happens, first you have to take the step, right? Okay. So message like example for internal and external power. Say for example, in an organization, a boss is an internal power center, but he may be having a good friend and he may listen to him. So though that person may not be in the organization, if he's a friend or his brother, he is also acting as a power center. This in a broad way you can take. Then relationship management, developing others, understand people's needs and help in building others' ability. This is one of the most important thing to develop any relation. You understand their needs. You just like say through like many of you like often think that like always I aspire to have a best friend. They always ask like who is your best friend. In fact, people understand this question itself in a wrong way. Say they think that best friend, they always think of the ideal characteristics. Best friend means for that person who always comes to my rescue, he does this, all these things. No, best friend is the best among your friends is your best friend, right? Are you getting me? So many of you, if you are thinking I don't have best friend, no, that's not the correct thing. We all have a person who is best among our friends. He is our best friend. We cannot just like compare those to the ideals. Best friend in we might have seen in movies, sacrifices his family, does many things. Then only we can call those people as best friend. No, a friend who is best among your friend is best. Sir, is developing others in relationship management and empathy or the same? No, developing others in relation management is different. Empathy is different. Empathy is just understanding. Here, developing, here you are fulfilling their needs. You are understanding their needs, what they need. Here, in empathy, you just put yourself in their shoes and you understand what they feel, why they feel, what they need. But in development, you help them in building their abilities. Like if you can say in a vague way, it can be compared to compassion. But in compassion, this term we use normally in the negative parlance when person is suffering and a person is having some challenges, helping them compassion. Here, it's the other way around. This person is not having any problem, but there are some needs. There's a need of help to all of us, or you have got some skills. Then in those times, you are helping in building his abilities, right? Inspirational leadership. Inspirational leadership, the tag word is with respect to lead by example, able to articulate and arouse enthusiasm. You should be that person. You should inspire the people around. All the world is like dull. It's somehow like dragged and trapped in one or the other problem. From morning to evening, somehow they will be like, in fact, it's said that many people Okay, 1 minute, students. Sorry, once again, the same thing. Often I make this mistake of not switching on the plug, though I have plugged it. Okay. So it was so good. You have to have that characteristic of inspiration leadership. You have to arouse and articulate enthusiasm. You have to lead by example. Then one question, what is the one important character to call anyone as a leader? Whom can be called as a leader? Like this is a very, very like now the most happening word, leadership. In fact, in southern India, we have many movies with respect to the same name itself. What do you understand by leader? What is that one character which defines leadership? Who is a leader? Who is a big leader? Good management, understanding the problems of the subordinates. Okay, but not exact. One character which defines leadership. Say, for example, okay, helping others to one who gives importance to others develop as well. Okay, but others also taking responsibility. Manjunath. Okay, okay. These may not be the defining characteristic which are unique to a leader. One of the important characters to call anyone as a leader. Let me give you an example. Think that there is one person who doesn't understand others, who doesn't help others. So a different kind of, you can say, think that he is a mental person. But he is having 10,000 followers. 10,000 followers. Think that on the other hand, like you, very good person, knowledgeable person, you take responsibility, you do all the things, you try to develop them. You have got, think that 100 followers. Then among these, A and B, who is the great leader? Who is a big leader? A or B? Directing and supporting, according to who is the characteristic, defining character leader. Who is the big leader here? A or B? Okay, I'll repeat. Okay, I'll repeat the thing. Please answer, give your attention. So there is one person, A. He is having 10,000 followers. There is another person, B, who is having 10 followers or 100 followers. This person who is having this many followers is not taking the responsibility, is not developing others, as you have all said, is not directing. But this person is directing, taking responsibility, everything. But he has got only 100 followers. Among these two, who is the best leader or the great, not best leader? Who is the big leader? B. He is a better leader. Okay. A, A. Okay, let me answer this question. Here, one of the defining characters, here I said that he is not taking responsibility, just to make the point clear. One of the defining characteristics of a leadership is to influence others. By influencing others, making others to follow you. You may be an ignorant, you may be irrational person. You might have seen many Babas. They have got hundreds, thousands of followers. Say, for example, our Nityananda Swami. He's having followers in lakhs. He's having followers around the world. Definitely, he is a big leader. The other person, other things, what you said are the things with respect to ideal leader, how he has to be, he has to arouse, articulate the enthusiasm, lead by example, he has to be inspirational leader. But whether you are a great leader or not is assessed by how many people you have influenced. Influencing others is the defining characteristic of a leader. It was just as general information. Okay. Influence, ability to pursue and convince. What do you understand by influence? It is ability to pursue others and also convince others. Conflict management. This is one of the most important things. Handle difficult individuals, tense situations with diplomacy and tactic. What is conflict management? Handling the situation with diplomatic tools and tactics by trick. We often fail here. We often might be having conflict with that. Generally, we'll have conflict with the persons with whom we have got a deep attachment or blood relations. So, for example, with respect to your friend or anyone else, if they are irritating or if you don't like, you can just avoid them or you can just say, please get out of my way. On the other hand, there will be some relations, some things like blood relations. It's always said that blood is very thick. If you are quarreling with your brother one day, or if your parents one day, will you say that you just leave, like, please don't be in my life from future? No. So in fact, it is there the conflicts happen. Here you have to handle the things with diplomacy and tactics. So apart from this, in general, how to manage conflict? This conflict management is stick to handle individual or situation also. In conflict management is a stick to handle individual situation also. Like I didn't read the question, madam. Okay, we'll move forward. So this is just to conflict management in general, especially how to avoid conflict, how to avoid argument. Apart from this, in general, the first thing is just say yes. If someone is forcing you someone, say for example, your parents are always telling you to do that, do this, you have not been doing. Just say yes whenever they say something. Whether you do or not is secondary. It's left to you. You can look after those things afterwards. A person has come with anguish, with all calculation, has to what like what to say, all these things. Suddenly, when you just say yes, almost is blank as to what to say. So in Kannada, they say that ಹೂ ಒಂದೊಂದನ್ನ ಊರವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. So you also just say yes to many things, most of the problem will be solved. Whether you do them or not, that is secondary. It's just a general talk. Like coming back to the emotional intelligence. Teamwork and collaboration, ability to work cooperatively with others. Building team and working in team is not that easy. We are all matured humans. We have got our own framework of thought. We have got like what is good for us, what is bad for us. Especially this is very important in civil service preparation. You might have heard many like people, they are getting like even single digit rank in their first attempt. How? The reason is they work in team. You might be sitting in one place like a Rishi, Muni, you are working. This won't help in civil service preparation. You have to work in a team. You have to at least as like once I say like read long before with respect to Roman signing. He was having a WhatsApp group way back some 7, 8 years back of some 3, 4 people where they used to discuss the things, where they used to exchange the things. If you don't work collaboratively, if you don't have teamwork, it is very, very difficult. Civil service preparation is a long journey. It is often said that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go long, then you need a company. Here you need a team. So you should have the ability to work in team, collaborating. Say if you are not able to find someone, the reason may be you are lacking that teamwork, the ability to work cooperatively with others. So I'll make groups first, little since almost I'm teaching 6 to 8 hours, I'm not even finding time. Like you might have seen, I'm not finding time even to add the mandatory slides I used to add in the beginning. So in another 2 weeks, I'll be finishing the assignment, the commitment. Afterwards, I have to interact with the students. I have to gauge afterwards based on how they interact, how committed they are. I'll form groups so that you can collaboratively work. Because once formed, it has to be formed group. Well begin is off done. So let us it is taking time, but we'll see. Okay, that was the answer to the question. Change catalyst. What is a catalyst? What is a catalyst? Science students, art students, catalyst. What is the defining character of a catalyst? Make process faster. Okay, half correct. Still, make process faster. Not only faster, slower also. Between reaction, catalyst is present. May not be correct, Meghnaji, always. So catalyst is one which increases in general in chemistry. Catalyst, out of my knowledge, its presence is taken in chemical reaction. Okay. Catalyst out of my past thing, which I read long back, some 20 years back. Catalyst is one which increases or decreases the rate of a reaction without it being involved or changing its form. So catalyst is one which is not directly involved in the reaction, but it increases or decreases the rate of reaction, or it influences the thing. Here too, who has a catalyst? What you are doing? You are just facilitating to facilitate change. You are acting as a facilitator. You are not involved in that. You are facilitating a change in an individual. So these are in fact very, very dense concept. Very in-depth understanding is needed for things like this. One message. Repeat change catalyst once again. Okay. Okay. In general parlance, we use the term catalyst for any substance which increases or decreases the rate of reaction without it being affected. Similarly, here, change catalyst means you are facilitating the development of an individual. You are facilitating some change in an individual, in society. Here, you are not involving in that. Say, for example, an individual. You want to develop something. So here, you are just facilitating that change. You're just a facilitator of change. The meaning of change catalyst is just facilitator. You're not involved there fully. You're helping. Say, for example, a person think, no, not exactly the correct example. Say, for example, you have got some money. Someone is in need of money for doing that. So you just give that money. You're not involved in the process, or you are not involved in the work, what he's doing. You're just facilitating what he needs. You're providing the facilities to change. Right? Okay. These are the things. Next, building bonds, ability to develop and maintain working relations. So building bond means ability to develop and maintain working relations. Okay. These were the things. These are very, very deep concepts. To comprehend these things is very difficult. But already you have got some nearly 25 points among 4 things. So you go home, internalize these things and apply these things. Right? Having said that, these are the 4 things as to how to develop emotional intelligence. Here, one important aspect, dear students, don't worry about the exact things present here. You form your own notes, you form your own concepts, and try to write them in your own word. Right? To conceptualize these things. Self-awareness in that if you lose some things, if you don't write, if you forget something, it doesn't matter. You have to like have a conceptual clarity. Some things will miss, some things you may add upon. It doesn't matter. In fact, the whole subject is very young. It is left to the individual's interpretations to a greater extent. But you won't go wrong. You won't go wrong when the concepts are clear. Okay. Then utilization of emotional intelligence in administration and governance. So here, please let me know how can we utilize emotional intelligence in administration and governance. Please go ahead. Using emotional intelligence in administration. Why emotional intelligence is important in administration and governance. This question has already been asked. How? Please let me know. By logical thinking. Okay, but how can we connect that to emotional intelligence? Correct. By logical reasoning, decision making. Great, very good. Like how decision making very nice. How emotional intelligence help in decision making. Great. Okay. Well tried. Good. So here, first of all, like what you have to do is for anything. First, you have to take the literal meaning of those things. Say when we discussed what is emotional intelligence, we discussed what is emotion, what is intelligence, what is emotional intelligence. Similarly, say for example, citizens charter. First understand what is citizen, what is charter. Citizen is a person who is having rights, who is having duty, and who follows the law. Charter just means authority. Charter just means like authority. So citizen charter just means citizens authority. Similarly, here you have to take the meaning of administration. What do you mean by administration? What are the 2 important characters to call something as administration? What is administration and what is governance? So in your all answers, first you have to define what administration means to you. Afterwards, you can apply. Otherwise, You may be thinking something like this is the administration and you will be applying examiner may not get those things. But it is very difficult for him to connect what you are feeling. This often happens. It is sometimes known as teller's bias. Means those people who tell, they think that other person will catch these things, but it is not the thing. The person who thinks, who is telling, is not aware of like how he feels, whether he can understand what is his basic level of understanding. We often do these things. We already say, for example, I have been preparing for UPSC. Think that for many years. So I take certain things for granted that these things are basically known to all. So I may think, and I may take these things for granted. So that is not the thing. So what I say is first you define administration. What is administration and what is governance? What is administration? What are the two defining things to call something as administration? Group effort, cooperative group effort, and common purpose. Common purpose. Can we have group effort without we understanding the other's emotions? No. So this simple uh, thing will make the point clear to the examiner. Group effort is not possible. Group is full of people. People are full of emotions. Until and unless you are emotionally intelligent, you cannot understand. And also, with respect to common purpose, how can we have a common purpose without we understanding others? So here, emotional intelligence is very, very important. So similarly, can you explain and can you think of governance? What do you understand by governance? I have given three definitions, simple definitions. Okay, act of maximizing citizens' welfare is governance. Great, according to second years. Or anything which maximizes citizens' welfare. Great. So can you maximize citizens' welfare? Maximizing citizens' welfare is governance according to second years. Can you maximize citizens' welfare without understanding those people, without understanding their emotions? No, not possible. So emotional intelligence is required. What is the other way of defining emotional governance? It is the act of collective decision making. Can we have collective decision making without understanding others? Not possible. It is the act of collective problem solving. So these are the three important definitions of governance: collective decision making, collective problem solving. It's a process of collective decision making, collective problem solving. And the instrument what we use is government, right? So in this way, if you analyze and interpret, these things will be very clear. Moving forward, administration has two essential elements, that is collective effort and common purpose. Thus, administration means cooperative effort of a group of people in pursuit of a common objective. Here, none of these things, cooperation or group effort or pursuit of a common objective, are not possible without being emotionally intelligent with respect to the people. It's all about people. Then governance is an act of collectively solving our problems. Government is an instrument we use. So the continuation of this with respect to like why we have got liberalization, privatization. This instrument is not working properly. So this is the time to roll back or change this instrument or modify this instrument. We don't want more government. To be precise, we want more governance. More governance means the act of collective problem solving. right? This is a thought of new public administration, which has given right to liberalization, privatization, globalization. Okay, this is general information. Getting back. So if you have these concepts in mind, applying these things to emotional intelligence is very important, very easy. Then social capital, like as I said, social capital refers to the bonds among the members, the relationship among the members, the social behavior, what we have in the society. Social, societal capital. This is that thing which defines a society. So social capital refers to the bonds, the relations which we have among the members. Say, for example, you have got a good bonding with your parents, with your neighbors, with your teachers. Don't you think this is a capital? This is a capital. This is the capital of the society, societal level, which comes from the society. On the other hand, we have got physical capital. Physical capital refers to the physical things like machinery, tools, technology, and production. So when we have got good machines, when we have got good tools, technology, we say that we have got better physical capital. On the other hand, financial capital refers to money. People who produce goods and services is human capital. I repeat, people who produce goods and services are human capital. So how to develop human capital? That is when the people are healthy, when the people are educated, they form better human capital. On the other hand, social capital refers to the bonds of mutual respect and care among the members of the collectivity or among the members of the society or group. So when we say that we have to develop social capital, it means that we have to develop good relations. This good relations should have the basis in mutual respect and care. If you have that, it is one of the good things that can happen. So as I mentioned earlier also, there was a study conducted. They took like thousands of people who are happy. After surveying these thousands of people, researchers came to one conclusion that those people who have got better social bonds, better social capital, or better relation are the happy people. Along with those, one addition was they should have minimum subsistence, minimum subsistence resources. These are not the direct things. Some of we all will be having these things. So whether you are happy or not is decided by the nature of relation you have with others. If you don't have good friends, if you don't have good relation with your parents, if you don't have good relation with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, teacher, then you are not happy. You may be having a lot of money, you may be having a lot of power, prestige. Say for example, think I got a Nobel Prize, but I don't have any good friends. Can I share my joy? With whom I share my joy? Happiness, all these things are contagious. Why people say like we'll do party? Party means that's an occasion to be happy. So dear students, like what I request is if you want to be happy, you should have good relation. That is in fact, to be precise, they say that you should have such kind of relation who can come to you when you are in your deathbed. Means just to precisely when you are having trouble, if they can come to you, these are the people who are with whom you have to maintain rapport, with whom you have to maintain good relations. If a person is not coming for your rescue, the old dialogue, a friend in need is a friend indeed. who are coming to your help are the people with whom you have to maintain good relations. Right? Social capital, this is the meaning. So why I explain this, it is often asked, and students in fact confuse human capital with social capital. Right? I hope all the capitals are clear now. Human capital is investment in people. Social capital is investment in relations among the people. Okay, clear. I repeat, human capital is investment in people. How to how to invest in people? This message, how to invest in people. Human capital is investment in people. Okay, so also circum. Provide required things to people and getting service from them. Meghanaji may not be correct. Like Pragna has, I just said, provide them good education, make them healthy. So when you invest in people, when you are making them healthy, when you are giving education, when you are giving knowledge, to develop people, invest to develop human capital. When you are investing in relations, means when you are developing good relations, good bonds, then it is social capital. This social capital cannot be achieved without emotional intelligence. So the reason for saying all these things is this. Social capital is very important and this cannot be developed without emotional intelligence. So this was a UPSC question. What is emotional intelligence and how can it be developed in people? How does it help an individual in making ethical decisions? Here, when coming to ethical decisions, when you are taking a decision which is involving people, say for example, you as a collector, most defining character of a civil servant or a public servant is to uphold the public trust, to serve the public interest. So when you are taking decisions to uphold the public trust, to see that public interest is always maintained, is it possible without you being involved or without you being emotionally intelligent with respect to the people whom you are addressing? It is difficult. And also, when you know what people like, when you know what people don't like, when you know how to develop them, when you are tactic, when you are good in social relations, you can make ethical decision making. So just elaboration of the things. Without emotional intelligence, an individual cannot take ethical decisions. Judging a situation or a problem ethically, judging a situation or problem ethically entails your own values and parameters of right and wrong, as well as considering the standards of ethical rules of society that we live in. So by considering all these things, you can have ethical decision making. So this I'll discuss in depth later. This is a very, very deep concept, like how emotions can lead to ethical decision making. This is in fact a very vague explanation. Okay. Emotional intelligence. See, every year almost you are getting a question, and it is pretty easy and in fact direct. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead against you. Do you agree with this view? Discuss. So this is the thing which is present in UPSC. So in all your definitions in future, you have to use this. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make our emotions work for us instead of against us. So this is the definition given to UPSC. Coming to the exact thing as to like how emotional intelligence is applied, why it had to be applied. All governance is people governance. All public service is people service. If you can't be intelligent with their emotions, you cannot serve them. Then relationship are the DNA of governance. Means relationship are the most important thing in governance. To understand that, we need emotional intelligence. It connects, feels, and understands the people. When you connect the people, when you feel what they are feeling, when you understand the people, you can have better results in administration or governance. For motivation and creativity, emotional intelligence is required. For ethical decision making, to negotiate with anyone, you have to have emotional intelligence. So in this way, emotional intelligence helps in good administration and good governance. So here once again leadership in relationship, it may be with respect to managing the things internally or at the national level or internationally. So in all these circumstances, we need emotional intelligence. So here to sum up the things and to give the cream of the thing, in governance and in administration, we deal with people. Until and unless we don't understand their emotions, we can, if until and unless we cannot influence their emotions, good governance or good administration is not possible. And to have a ethically correct decision, you should have emotional intelligence. So this is in brief, and in fact, this needs a thorough understanding and discussion. And in fact, this was some of the materials which I found. I will revisit this. In fact, I am not satisfied with these things as to how in detail we have to explain the things. So this is all with respect to emotional intelligence and its application in administration and governance. Right? So any doubt with respect to the things, providing required things to people and getting services from them. Old message. I thought it was a new. Okay. So, like you said that the things are clear. Really, I'm very happy because these things take a lot of thinking. Like it is very, very difficult, in fact, because these things are new to us, right? So, having said that, let us wind up the class here. If you have got any doubt, please message me or tell me. Like I'll be very happy to answer. Definitely, I will stand till the last man. I may not answer suddenly. I may take time, but I'll definitely answer all your queries. Right? Happy reading. Enjoy your preparation. Take care.